Alright, this is just a quick one because I've only got about 10 minutes before the wife serves dinner. So, couple of little housekeeping. I've not been on here as often just because it's been a really busy time. But you do get to engage with me a bit more probably if you want to on the Facebook Kurgan Immortals group. So just Google, if you are on Facebook and you want to be part of it, just look for Kurgan Immortals on Facebook and allow everybody to come in. Then if you don't fit in, we'll kick you out. The other place is Social Galactic, which has got a really good interaction. So if you're not a member of Social Galactic, I'm not sure what the process is, through Vox I think, but get on there because it's like a smart Twitter. Like it's pretty polite, there's no usual bashing. In fact, Vox had a bit of a go at me because some guy was just making up crap about me. So I thought, I'll make crap about him. And he was like, no, cut that out. And I'm like, all right. So it's actually good because, I don't think there's a huge number of people on there yet. But the conversations seem to be at least more pleasant. I don't know yet that they're, super intelligent or anything, but we'll get there. And there was a request from somebody to talk a little bit about the Vikings because I've been reading this really awesome, excellent book. If you haven't got it, I'll put a little link below this video. Get How the West Won by Rodney Stark. That guy is an exemplary historian, and he really does have a bug about people lying or misrepresenting things, regardless of whether he agrees or disagrees with the actual concepts. For example, he is not a Catholic at all, but whenever people lie about the Catholics and make up crap, he just names them and changes them. And he's like that with everything, whether it's metallurgy or the Industrial Revolution. And it's really awesome because it's correcting so much history, bad history, which wasn't real history. It's just a narrative. And so it's an awesome book. Get it. I will put the link below the video for those of you that, are Google impaired or something. But yeah, the Vikings, I thought, like everybody else, they were just these, rude, crude, basically raping, pillaging, blonde guys, which they kind of were for a while. However, they, between the years of about 800, 700, something like that, to 1,000, 1,100 or so, 1,050, they had the best navigational skills of anybody. And apparently there was a type of crystal which is found in their lands quite often, which would allow you to see the sun regardless of cloud cover. I'm really interested in this, so I sort of went to look at the footnote because Rodney Stark footnotes everything. He literally references everything so that nobody can accuse him of just making shit up. And I'm gonna look a bit more into it when I've got a bit of time. I just haven't had time. I've got so many projects on the go. It's I hope some of them finish soon because I want to do sort of an idiot's guide to Mars and what happened there. I did the videos against sort of Simon Dan about what happened on Mars, and he was polite, but he still made some errors on it. But really, video is not the format for that because, again, references are important and scientific details are important. So I'm not going to reissue The Face on Mars because that is a reference document that I think has stood the test of time. I've updated in 2014. It will stand the test of time. And it's got a lot of references to a lot of different topics. But I want to focus a little bit just on Mars, and I'll do that at some point. I don't know when. But anyway, the Vikings. The Vikings had better metallurgy than pretty much everybody else at a time when, people had some iron weapons. They apparently had already invented the blast furnace completely separately from China or whatever. And anyway, the Chinese didn't use the blast furnace to build cannons and better weapons. The Europeans did. So basically what these Vikings used to do is they used to raid monasteries and churches because they were wealthy Monasteries were repositories of wealth, because essentially it was a group of disciplined men that worked, produced their own food, were self-sufficient, and when they produced more, they sold it, and eventually they became quite wealthy, and that's how the church became so wealthy. And of course, the Satanists have stolen all that stuff now with Bergoglio and his retinue since 1958, but they used to raid these things quite regularly, coastal towns and so on. So basically what happened, and I'm summarizing a lot, but what happened is the French, the English, all these people said, look, can you guys just stop raping and pillaging, stop raiding us, we'll give you that bit of land, right? You can now call that yours, and instead of raiding us, you protect us from other raiders. And so they became the Normans. And these guys were pivotal in the Crusades, because the Crusades was done by a few families of Normans and Franks who were wealthy, and family and friends is the biggest driver for anything. So if you're going to convert to proper Catholicism, your family and friends are going to be the ones that you can affect the most, and once you start that ball rolling, it just carries on and on and on. And I've seen it in my own life, and I hope you see it in yours. If you're already nominally Catholic, making the jump to, say, the Privationists can be a little bit rough, but certainly nowhere near as rough as coming from a completely non-religious background like both my wife and I, and going hardcore, from pretty quick. So anyway, these Normans were instrumental in leading the Crusades. Bohemond was clearly a Norman from all, he was kind of a huge guy, and I really like him. I like that character a lot, and actually my little son reminds me of him, because my little boy is going to be huge. I think he's going to be bigger than I am by quite a bit, and I love his character. He's both more patient than I am, and yet definitely has that Filotto temperament when things piss him off. And it also made me more curious about my family history, and I'm looking at my family emblem up there, because I know that from about 1200 or so, that's when the Filo family came across to the south of Italy, took over the Tower of Susanna, went up north to Venice. But these were essentially returning crusaders. The story of the 40 Normans who were coming back from the Crusades as pilgrims came across a city in Sicily that was being taken over by Muslims, and said, no, this won't do. They asked for weapons and armor and horses, took the city back, kicked the ass of the Muslims, got rid of them, and then gave the armor, horses, and weapons back, and refused payment, and carried on back home. These were extremely devout warriors, and at the same time clearly not shy to kill people when needed. There's a particularly interesting story during which is well documented actually, so it did happen, that in a parley between Muslims and Crusaders, because obviously you respect the parley, you don't attack the messengers and whatever, although the Muslims often did. So the Crusaders were kind of like on edge, and I can't remember what the reason is or what exactly happened, but I think the Muslims basically said either you surrender or we'll kill all of you or whatever. And the response by one of the Normans that was there, who was in full armor, with a mailed fist, he just punched the horse that the Muslim messenger was on, punched the horse in the head and killed it with one blow. I mean, these were not small guys, and you can sort of understand in full armor why one of these guys would be like a tank. So and they were essentially Vikings. That's what the Vikings were. And I know there's got to be some mixing there going on, because my great-grandfather was huge, was a kind of 2-meter tall guy. Believe it or not, when I had hair as a little boy, I was fully blonde. So was my brother and sister, and so's my son, and so was my wife when she was little. So there's something going on there. Plus, the Venetian area from where we're from, Venice and so on, is near the mountains. There's some Germanic influence there, but we came up from the south. So, I don't know. It's very interesting. I'm going to see if I can find it a bit more. But yeah, so the Vikings, far from being just dumb barbarians, were very well-trained fighters, well-disciplined fighters, who had awesome iron armor and weapons, and were the best navigators at a certain period for a couple of centuries at least. So there you go. That's the little bit about the Vikings, and mixed in with a whole bunch of other stuff, because you know how my brain goes. So I hope you enjoyed it, because my 10 minutes are up, and I'll speak to you soon, I hope. Good night.